Hi everyone. Today I want to take this chance to talk about metrics, particularly social media metrics. They're also known as benchmarks, and how important they are for your business and what they offer you, and go over a couple of the ways that you can track your own social media metrics and give yourself a landmark for where you're at. Metrics are very important because they allow us to know where we're at a particular point in time. And so we may track where we're at today relative to where we're at in 30 days, relative to where we're at in 6 months, relative to where we're at in a year. And without these metrics at hand, without having taken measurements, you don't have a way to track that. The way I started my blog post out said, you have less influence today than you had last year. And I challenged you to prove that. Without metrics, it's very difficult to prove. And so your metrics are how you demonstrate to yourself, to your mentor, to your business partners, to your business guidance people, where you're at, where you're going, and whether you're on target. And so that's really critical when you're growing a business. Now, social media metrics are a little different than traditional business metrics. Many traditional business metrics still apply to social media, but we have a few that are very unique. Traditional businesses didn't always have Twitter and didn't always have Facebook, and so these are things that I want to cover today. You can get a pretty good discourse on business metrics and business sales metrics all over the web. For social media, we have things that we want to track, such as Twitter. Twitter's got some pretty common numbers. It's got your average number of followers. So how many followers do you have today? You can landmark that against how many followers you'll have in 30 additional days and so forth. It also has how many times were you retweeted or mentioned in the last 7 days. And you can either do a total number or you can divide it by 7 to get your average. That's really your own preference. They're both useful, and all you're doing is a comparative, so either number really works. It doesn't particularly matter. You may also want to do a tracking of the keywords for your brand, your brand name, or a particular keyword that is unique to your niche. And so if you do set up a tracking to track the number of times that keyword was used or mentioned in the last 7 days, there's another valuable metric. Unfortunately, with all of these, one of the real limitations is we don't have a good way to evaluate a quality relationship. How do you put a number on how many people on Twitter you have a quality relationship with? That's very difficult. And so one of the advantages that we're going to do is we're going to take metrics across several of your social media systems, and we're going to take several metrics in each of these. And we found that they very positively correlate to when these metrics start to increase, that as long as you're not spamming and as long as you're not artificially generating some of these numbers, that they are generally a true reflection. Because when you build the relationship, these numbers tend to go up. So we're going to depend on that corollary or that correlation to allow us to establish whether we're on the right track when you come to another social media such as Facebook. On Facebook, you have 3 main areas. You have your profile, you have your business or fan page, and you also have your groups. And so we want to apply these metrics to all 3 of those areas. And on Facebook, you want to track the number of followers or friends or fans, depending on the page type. You want to track the amount of interaction on those pages. You want to track the number of times you were tagged in value-added, or tagged or mentioned in value-added material, the number of times you share something that somebody reshares and puts your name on, so that you're getting additional exposure through them. Facebook has that great tagging feature that people are just starting to get used to using. You may also want to track the number of times that you post value content, material that isn't particularly a money post, that isn't sales based and is giving value out, so that when you tag a person in it, they're more likely to leave it on their wall. They're more likely to let it go down their friend stream and let other people see that they were tagged and who's talking about them and what they're talking about. That's additional business exposure for you, so it's very important. You may also want to track on Facebook the number of times that you interact on somebody else's wall. You know, whether this is replying to something they have going on or whether it's making a fresh post. I'm not talking about doing a sales pitch. I'm not talking about spamming their walls. I'm talking about keeping it very unique, very genuine, and when you're building that relationship. And you'll start to get a feel for what you want to track. But you want to track those numbers because those numbers tell you your amount of interaction in the community. And that will allow you'll start to see that those numbers end up reflecting in your page numbers and end up reflecting in your list numbers and the numbers getting back to your blog and the numbers signing up for your email list and thus the number of people going through your marketing funnel. That at the end of the day is where the money's at. So that's why it's critical to track from start to finish so you know if you have any holes in the middle. You know, we can track your other things. We can track your RSS feed and the number of people clicking links from there. We can track your email campaign, the number of people on your list or lists, the number of people that do your click-through rate on your links that are in those email posts, the actions people take after they click through the next page that they may have followed from your email campaign. You know, we can track your sales funnel. We can track the number of people that just browse the page versus the number of people that follow a link on the page, and also the number of people that follow a link and eventually make a purchase. You know, these are all vital metrics. We can't track the individual per se, but we can get a feel for sheer numbers. And that's really important. You know, we just want an overview here. We want to know very granular in terms of what area we're working in, but we don't need to know in terms of the individual person. But any place that we find a weakness in the pathway, we know where it's going to be valuable to us to spend some additional time, spend some energy, maybe spend a little money, and strengthen that area so that we have better throughput from the time we make a connection with the person to the time the person successfully goes through the funnel and becomes monetary value for your business. So I'm going to share on my blog some of the metrics that I've gathered over the last couple days, kind of where I'm at the moment. As most of you know, I'm very new at this point, but I look forward to sharing these numbers with you. I'm going to post some screenshots, some additional details, show you where I'm at, and I'm going to set some goals for where I want to be in the next couple months. And so I look forward to sharing those with you, and I also look forward to hearing what you've found as you look at your own metrics. I'm interested to hear if this has been of value to you, and also other metrics that maybe I didn't mention today that you've found useful to track. You know, my post is really a getting started with social metrics. It's not an all-encompassing guide, and you can find some really well put together guides out on the internet if you want to expand your research on this. So if you find anything that you find useful, I look forward to you sharing it with me and the community here. You take care, and I look forward to hearing from you.